Chapter 1, Aralam, Who I Am. Aralam. Humanity is changing. The DNA by which humanity is connected to the Creator God is changing. This change is the normal evolution of things. Souls are born into this universe in order to grow, stretch, take on the qualities that are needed to progress. There is no set timeline for each individual soul to make this continual transition toward the creation. Although there is no set timeline for each individual soul, there is a larger energetic structure in place at the same time. This structure is meant to keep the whole of the universe moving forward in an evolutionary, geological, spiritual, and physical manner. Within this system, there are not only physical aspects of growth, but also energetic measures of growth and movement. Humanity on Earth is now fully involved in this evolution forward and upward in an energetic spiritual sense. Although truth, as humans record it, is relative, some universal truths are constant. The truth of the universe in which you reside is exactly as you may secretly hope and recognize within your deepest places. There is an energetic order to the existence of everything you see with your eyes and everything that is there but not seen with the human eyes or by human inventions. There is a governing creator energy, God, which oversees in the least constraining way possible the forward movement of the universe which it created. There is a connection, soul, within every living thing that will always bring it back to the creation force. This connection cannot be taken from you. It cannot be stolen from you. It cannot be removed from you. Your belief in a soul is irrelevant and not necessary. Believe what you will. Free will was given to you at the time you were brought into being. The energy which resides in your soul will and has returned you to the creation force many times. In this book, I will be referring to the Creator God throughout. These words are not meant to indicate any gender-specific norm. I am literally just using words that you might understand within your realm of reality at this time on your planet. You as humans have no real capacity for understanding the Creator God in its entirety. I make that distinction in order for you to not get, as Melissa would say, hung up on the vernacular. Your soul is in fact an unbreakable bond which will always return to the Creator God. All human behaviors and mess, as Melissa would call it, is simply a tool for each soul to hopefully learn, grow, and continue to raise up along the paths to creation. What you do matters in your life. What you leave behind for others in the form of emotions and feeling memories matters in life. How you feel matters in the end, and how you have made others feel matters in the end even more. What you believe is powerful. What you believe your life to be is what it will be. This is factual in the universe. Simple and yet so powerful and dangerous. Please go back and reread this paragraph. This is the whole point of incarnating. I am Aralam. I am not mythological. I am not a religious belief. I am not a religious doctrine. I am not an alien in the respect that you might determine from your entertainment industry or your black governmental programs. I am not a figment of the imagination. Who I am is not meant to be cryptic, imaginary, or shrouded in any kind of mystical, unintelligible parable. I am a real entity, guide, teacher, living on the 89th energetic level of creation field that is your universe. I am not at this time flesh and blood as you, the reader, are. I am, however, made up of the very same subatomic energies, particles, and fields that you are as you read this. I am at this time much more a being made from light and sound frequency. The reason for this is that I am at a much higher sound, frequency, and vibration level than the Earth. My personal soul history is not important for this book. However, some of that history will be used as it is supportive of the teachings. My history with the soul, Melissa, is one of 4 distinct lifetimes on Earth, only one of which she remembers with any specificity. That lifetime was in the area of Earth that is now Wales, and I was a priest in a Druidic society in which I taught the life path of bardship. That lifetime took place approximately 1,953 years ago in the Earth time frame. I was Melissa's spiritual teacher in that lifetime. Within this lifetime, I agreed to be her teacher guide or contracted lifetime guide in order to work on the changing shift that is imminent upon your planet and this universe at this given time. I made the agreement with Melissa prior to her birth. Certain aspects of this lifetime were predetermined as possible goals, and my relationship with Melissa and the disseminating the teachings in this book was one of those possible goal sets for her. I am no longer incarnate as a physical body. At my level of what Melissa calls the lobby, heaven, next level of being, where your soul goes at death, there is no real need for organic corporeal bodies. All of the souls passing to and from the lobby are in pure energetic soul form. This fact is constant regardless of where in the universe the soul is coming from or departing toward. No matter which planet or species you are coming from, upon birth you will receive some sort of corporeal body if it is deemed necessary for that lifetime, and upon the death of that body vehicle, you will return to the lobby in pure soul or energy form for your review. I am in the department of communication. I am literally a guide teacher whose sole purpose is that of communication, so that souls, humans on earth, will begin to see the reality of where they are living and the system that the Creator God has in place. There are many levels of energetic teachers and guides above me, with whom I work, take counsel, and confer. The energetic bodies above me are part of the infinite network of the support which the Creator God has in place for the advancement of souls. I suppose you would liken it to a hierarchy of management within an endless, albeit very functioning, governmental system. I reside as an energetic being here. There are an uncountable number of other teacher guides in this area of the lobby. Each of those teacher guides works with an incarnate soul on any number in the millions of planets in your universe. I am but one of those teacher guides working with my student Melissa in this timeline on Earth. Due to the fact that I have no need of a physical corporeal body here, Melissa has attached her last memory of what my physical body looked like in that druidic lifetime incarnation that we shared. This ability of the human mind to see is very useful in the connection process, particularly early on in a teacher-guide relationship. So the purposes of this book and the information herein, I look a bit like a white-haired, bearded male human. To Melissa, I appear tall and slender. I have light blue eyes, which I had in that last lifetime, and an easy smile. I believe she would see me to be 80-plus years old on your earth plane. Although I feel as though I have retained a humorous soul, Melissa often feels that I have quite a dry sense of humor and that I am a bit stern. My soul, like others, retains the most fundamental elements from lifetime to lifetime as I learned more and more lessons. Souls do not, however, retain any of the negative elements. Negative lessons learned while incarnate are to be overcome and released. Universal Soul Guide Teacher Covenant. I am, in my role as Melissa's guide teacher, always to reside within the universal laws of the Soul Guide Teacher Covenant. Every soul who is born into any kind of organic body in this universe is given a soul guide teacher. The range of souls incarnate at any given time who are even remotely aware of their guide teacher on Earth has been sitting at 21% of the living population. This very low percentage of souls who can connect with their guides has been very stable and unchanging for many thousands of years on your planet. In the midsection of the last century AD, that number of sensitive souls began to rise and sits now at this time at approximately 38%. The evolution of humans is meant to bring this number up to 62% in the next 100 Earth years, which will tip the population's energetic imprint in the universe and shift the planet up in frequency, thereby creating a new reality, a new direction, and a new paradigm for the human species. I use the phrases up, down, forward and other directional indications only so that you, the reader, will have a plane upon which to imagine the workings of energy. In a literal sense, these descriptive words do not fully explain the nature of sound, energy, frequency, and gravity, but for now, these words will suffice. The Universal Soul Guide Covenant is the agreement set in place upon the inception of this universe by the Creator God at the first point of creation. At that time, I am told there were no souls incarnating yet, but the covenant was in place. The covenant is there in order to uphold free will, which is the Creator's most highly lauded and held law. All souls have free will, and a teacher guide must always adhere to that law for the student. As Melissa's teacher guide, I cannot do, say, impart, or force any knowledge or decision upon her that would in any way impinge upon her free will. This law is absolute. For example, in the beginning of this book, Melissa listed many, many life situations that she chose to experience. Now you may ask, well, what good is a teacher guide if he can't step in and stop the student from doing, as Melissa would say, stupid shit? The covenant and the free will rule does not allow me to stop my student from doing, saying, being, believing, accepting, or choosing anything. My sole job is to hopefully protect, mitigate, support, and generally be that voice deep inside that says, are you sure this is a good idea? I think that all of you reading, no matter where you are in your life, have had that moment or many moments. Those moments when you think, I remember that day. I knew in my gut that I should not date that person, or that time when I missed that off-ramp, but I knew it was fine, and found out later that there was a huge wreck and I missed it. I could go on forever with the if only I had listened to my gut, that situation would or would not have happened conversation. The main point to understand, and I cannot state it firmly enough, is free will is paramount for every soul. There is no flexibility in this law. There are no caveats to this law. The law of free will covenant is primal and was set into motion prior to what humans would call the Big Bang moment for this universe. It is the law. Very often, when sitting with clients, Melissa will ask me a question about the client's future, and I am not given the directive to answer, simply because a direction given from me could very well impinge upon their free will. Your lessons as a soul are your own, to be lived out by your own choice. Your guide's job is to assist you, possibly warn you, and very benevolently give you the inclination to do the right thing. Nothing more is allowed. Melissa has often spent days trying to get me to give her some concrete answer to some question which I cannot give. Ultimately, her decisions are her own. I, as of now, am residing at this 89th level of the entrance to the lobby. I do not constantly watch Melissa. She showers alone. That is often the kind of worry that a soul might have about their own guide. Is my guide watching me constantly? What if I don't want a guide? I don't like the idea of there being a guide with me all the time. I like my privacy. So as a guide teacher to Melissa, and as is the rule of all guides, I do not watch her all of the time, as I have many of my own responsibilities here at the lobby and on higher levels than this entry level. I do, however, have an integral energy connection to Melissa in this lifetime. I liken it to having a bell, or I suppose you might say a cell phone, by which Melissa is the only number or contact saved in it. I do not hold it in my hand as you might imagine in your Star Trek movies, but we are linked energetically. I often will leave Melissa's side to attend to other responsibilities here, but should she focus her sudden attention on me, or should she be in a situation or in proximity to a person or persons who could use the input from the lobby, I am instantly present for her. There are times when my responsibilities here will give me need to attend a very far-reaching area of the universal energy field. In that case, I will alert Melissa to the fact that I may feel absent to her for a few days on Earth. I am, however, even at those times, fully able to instantly be back at her side should she have need of me. In the beginning, Melissa tested this proximity alarm, as she would call it, and called me back with no real emergency to see if what I was saying was true. Melissa no longer feels the need to test this connection. Over time, our connection has grown in such a way that there is no reason to work hard or take some time to adjust the energy field. Melissa has, at this point, just learned to have, as she would say, one foot in each energetic state pretty much all of the time, which took some time to accomplish. All humans are completely able to do this, but most are just now beginning to feel the ability awaken. There is an innate ability for every human to have a direct contact with the Creator God. Although through religious dogmas and other spiritual formats, many humans use symbols in order to connect. It is not necessary, but it is completely accepted as a road to connection with creation as well. We will speak on religious frameworks in a later chapter, but suffice to say that humanity is beginning to awaken to its own connection to the lobby, creation, and the Creator God. Here in the lobby, my soul energy core is in full control of my beingness. This is the truth for all souls at the entry level of the lobby. There is no need to retain any kind of organic vessel here, as all movement on these levels is motivated by a marriage of mental, energetic, and sonic threads which intertwine automatically. There is a constant pulsing oval of thermal magnetic waves and protons which coalesce to manifest a space in which my personal soul, personality, and visual energy can reside for Melissa to have a kind of a thought sight of me. I could just as easily exist as a perfectly clean sound or color wave, but for the purpose of my connection with Melissa and her life's work, it is helpful for me to utilize the thermosonic magnetic vessel. The thermosonic magnetic vessel is like a bubble, if you will. It is an energy sound field which allows me to keep all of my soul vibrations in one place for creating a semi-solid form. When I say semi-solid, I do not mean this to indicate organic in any way. Semi-solid would maybe look like what you would call diaphanous. My soul is of the non-corporeal nature at this point. For now, I do not need any kind of organic body to further my incarnation levels. I no longer need to incarnate into any organic vessel body in order to gauge my soul's lessons. I now have the ability to move freely through my lessons without the constraints of time, space, or organic vehicle, a body of any kind. Time here has no meaning whatsoever. Once the entry-level lobby of creation is entered, time, as a human would describe it, no longer exists. At the higher energy levels of creation, everything that is just is. There is no timeline of any kind pushing events forward, backward, or in any direction unless a soul or energy body wished to have that experience. If you can imagine a space in your life that was so fulfilling and joyful that time for you either seemed to stand still or fly by, that would be how time might feel from the upper levels of creation here. I was in my last incarnation on Earth as a Druid Bard leader and teacher. Since that time on Earth, I have resided here at the lobby level, working in those same areas that I found so enjoyable and enlightening on Earth. Here, I can do, be, involve my soul and mind energy in anything that gives my soul pleasure. Here, I am involved in communications with many other soul guides. My group is involved with the evolution of study and sound vibration, music, communications, and energy shifting. Other groups of evolved guides can be in other areas of expertise: building, creation of planets, geology, prayer for species, evolution of galaxies, evolution of art, telepathy, law, evolution of physics in a galaxy, medical evolution, galaxy growth, internal evolution of groups, belief, knowledge, healing, music, etc. The list goes on and on. To simplify, it would be likened to the idea that on Earth, people may be involved in sports teams, hobbies, political endeavors, philanthropy, education, learning, art, any study of positive issues. Upon a soul's entry into the upper levels of creation, where an organic body is no longer needed, that soul may become involved in a timeless endeavor of their natural talents or leanings. The one caveat is that there is no negative inducement or gain at this level. The ability to create and grow here is unlimited, but it is lacking in any kind of negative outcome where greed, need for competition, or other stimuli besides the growth and deepening of the soul's direction. For example, if you were a human who loved nothing more than to bake beautiful cakes and sell them at your own cake shop on earth, then when you arrive at the lobby after death, you may decide to spend hundreds of earth years simply having that perfected experience with and for your loved ones here in the lobby. You would not do this because of any gain in an earthly sense. You would be experiencing this ability in order to feel the pure joy of doing and giving that talent to others. Your cakes would be perfection, as everything around you would be as well. Now, after some time, you may want to use this gift to assist souls who are still incarnating onto Earth or other planets. You could become a guide to someone who shares your gifts of creating beautiful culinary experiences. You could be a part of the group called Evolution of Consumption. This group is involved with the art, sustainability, and social ramifications of how species who still choose to deal with food and the evolutionary move forward. You would not be forced to become a teacher guide, but you could. Or, without any judgment at all, you could literally enjoy your own skills and experience that joy forever. In this way, time is not relevant to us here at these higher levels. Melissa will often ask me, how much time will an event or situation take to unfold for her? From my perspective, all the possibilities for her are happening all at once. There is no timeline at all. Time for humans is a construct that was built by their organic minds to push forward the physical agendas that they keep. It goes without saying that any human can actually decide at any moment in time what they are experiencing. They can experience as I am out of any kind of timeline. So the timeline of any event or situation to unfold is for all intent and purposes the decision of the observer on Earth. Here at the lobby, Melissa and my connection to her is my priority for the time that she will be on the planet. I do, however, have other responsibilities that I must attend to. As I said, I am in the Communications Study Evolution music group here. Often, I am called away to be involved in what we loosely call a group evolution intervention. Hundreds of planets in the Milky Way galaxy alone are shifting in evolutionary vibrations currently. Some of the planets are younger than Earth's evolution, and some are far in front of the Earth's. While a planet is making a transition, or if a planet gets into any kind of difficulty during these growth periods, my specialty group may be called to that planet's energy field to do group energy work. Put very simply, I will be alerted through the fabric of magnetic dark matter that I am needed in some corner of the galaxy. My energetic hearing, sensing of this call will immediately hone my energy field to the gathering field of others in my specialty. I then alert Melissa that I have been called away to do work, and that I am simply within a sent thought from her if she has need of me. I can usually also let her know how many Earth days or hours I may be away from her physical bodily senses. I then allow my energy to connect more fully to my specialty group, and I am immediately transported to the group. Once with the group, we will all combine our energy and intent upon whatever the issue is for the planet, species, or situation that we were called upon to assist. During this time of group intention for healing, enlightenment, or change that we assist with, I never lose the core of my own soul energy. No matter how large the grouping of teacher guides that is called from my specialty, we do not combine into one soul or personality. We retain our personal soul boundaries. We simply combine our intention fully for the positive outcome that we were instructed by the creation to employ. As a group of 10 or 10 million, we will all determine exactly what the intention for the situation might be. For example, evolve this species' ability to have language to 12 degrees higher in order that they avert warlike behaviors. Once the intent it is decided upon, usually by a predetermined lead for that working, we all intend that energetic shift to be. We do not intend for it to happen. We do not intend that it will happen. We intend as one that it is. Intention is the framework of what your scientists call dark matter. Dark matter responds to the intention of it is. This is the simple way to explain how we manifest and intend the Creator's assistance within the universe. Again, I remind you that as a soul coming back into the lobby, you are never pressed into any working group, but it is very common after a long rest and rejuvenation that souls decide to add their positive intention energy to a group of like energy souls. The work is very gratifying. We may be called to a planet or a species to avert a disaster. We may be called to heal a planet or species after a disaster has already happened. My group, as I said, is specialized in the evolution study, communications, music, so my group would be called forth for assistance if a planet or species needed to raise or evolve its speaking, communication, musical vibration, or the ability to focus on learning, study, speaking with each other, and sometimes telepathic communication skills as well. The group to which I belong is very specifically deemed for these issues within galaxial evolution. My group would not be called in during the initial terraforming of a new planet. There would be a group who specialized in that area of energy manifestation. You can see then why I'm working with Melissa. In this life, through speech, writing, and music, she is all about communication, telepathy, evolution, music. This is how guides will become linked with students. Guides will be paired with an organic species that has natural leanings in the area in which their guide is proficient. My soul body is constantly awash with the waves of cleansing energy frequency from the higher levels of creation. There is no need for my energy ever to become depleted or in need of rest. The creation is the food upon which I reside at this level. All souls and beings above the 89th level of creational vibration exist in this state. And as a soul moves up the levels, the vibration and knowledge of all becomes more and more clear. The very fact that I am working with Melissa in this lifetime is also allowing me to learn and grow as a soul here in the lobby. It is through my teaching with her that I am learning and growing as a soul at my level as well. The process of souls growing and evolving is placed in a completely symbiotic system, which constantly allows the teacher and student to grow. I am a student to souls much higher up the vibrational growth levels, and yet I am a teacher to Melissa below me on the levels of vibration in creation. Again, I must stress, however, that every soul has the right and free will to embrace the growth or not in that soul's own time with no repercussion. I spent many lifetimes incarnating upon the earth plane before I decided to take the next steps to the guide levels of creation. If I wanted to, I could incarnate back to the earth plane after my employment as Melissa's teacher is completed. I have the freedom to make that choice if I should deem it necessary. The beauty of the Creator's system is that all souls are gently given choices and free will throughout eons of time to hopefully move forward in positive growth through trial and error in many incarnate situations of their own free will. As a being, I do not need rest or sleep in the sense that a human would. I am no longer dependent upon an organic existence, so sleeping, eating, resting, and moving an organic body around is no longer necessary. I simply am, and I require no respite from just being. When I first returned from my last earth plane incarnation, I spent a long while in a resting state, as I had been through a particularly difficult end and required a rest period to assimilate all of my lessons from that lifetime. This is normal for very many returning souls from Earth and all over other planets and energy levels of this universe. It took me what I believe would be approximately 172 Earth years to regroup, remember why I incarnated, who I truly am, and then begin to assimilate the positive and difficult lessons for which I incarnated to the Earth plane. Because I was a bard in that previous lifetime, and had been in many prior to that, when I first returned here to the 89th level of the lobby, I sat in a beautiful garden and played and wrote music and spoken word. Time for me was irrelevant. My soul chose to sit in a beautiful sunny meadow near a lake. My soul family and fellow travelers would come to visit me often and talk with me about my journey and my last lifetime on Earth, as well as listen to my playing and reciting. I needed nothing and simply was. This is what I did to assimilate the last lifetime. At some point, my guide and partner, Frenzlar, came to me and suggested that I might want to move to the next level and have my meeting with the teaching group of souls who might help me determine if or when I might decide to move to teaching. I believe that I had been in my healing rest mode in that meadow for probably 50 years when Frenzlar first approached me. You must understand that it was as if we had just spoken, and no time had passed, because in the upper levels of creation there literally, as I have said, is no time. Love and positive movement simply is. A soul can create a state that mimics time, but it truly has no power in the same sense as it does on Earth. After the 172nd year or so, I moved to the 89th level of the lobby, where teachers and guides can take up the work that they decide to engage in, or they can simply congregate and create beauty and new horizons, learn for their own engagement or the joy of it. I went to my meeting with the 5 teacher guides who had been with me for many lifetimes and accepted the position of teacher guide with the communication group. They had been in contact with Melissa's soul upon her last return to the lobby, while I had been in rest, and she agreed that if I would accept the position, she would like me to be her teacher guide for the lifetime that she is presently in upon Earth. I agreed. At this time, she was prepared to be born. She had made agreements with those other souls who wished to travel a lesson path with her, and she with them. I met her at the engagement point. We spoke and agreed upon possible contact points in her life and walked with her to the departure hall in the lobby. I wished her well and bid her creator speed at remembering why she was reincarnating back to Earth and what her lessons were to be. Melissa then bonded with her pod souls that she was leaving behind this time and engaged her energy core back to the field of Earth in the re-entry waiting period for the human baby yet to be born into which she would incarnate. After Melissa left the lobby, I then studied the basic lesson plan for what she and I were to accomplish for not only her but the common good of the Earth plane at this time in its history. The main theme of the lesson plan is to enlarge the paradigm and communication skills both theoretically, energetically, and organically on Earth. There are many guides in my skill group who are doing the same with souls now on Earth who deemed it critical that they be involved in the shift that is happening. After studying the general life plan for her, I was free to continue my own studies and move about with my family souls and teachers. Melissa incarnated onto the planet, survived the moment of soul implantation and birth, and I awaited her contact request. It is important to note here that Melissa had no memory of me, the lobby, her lesson plans, or any of the conversations we had before her birth. This is free will in action. The whole meaning of incarnating without memory is that the soul must gain strength through trial and error and decide to grow in positive ways. A teacher guide, such as myself, cannot intervene in any real way with my student until or unless I am directly called upon for assistance. At the very point that an incarnated soul calls out or requests the assistance of its guide, the guide-soul connection is completed across the energetic chasm between Earth and the lobby. If Melissa had never called out to me for assistance, I would not, under any circumstances, been able to intervene or contact her for any reason. I would have assessed her throughout her lifetime and simply met her when she traveled back over at her death. At that point, she would have remembered our connection and the fact that she never contacted me and that those lessons and directives were not met. There are no repercussions for not remembering who you are in a lifetime. You will simply carry lessons still to be learned. So, in our case, Melissa did indeed make the connection with me, and I was alerted to her engagement to her lesson plan. From that time to now, I have been teaching and guiding Melissa to this point where we are writing this book for you, the readers. Melissa had free will during the whole endeavor and could stop at any time and simply live out her lifetime. She could change her stance and never speak to me again with no repercussions from the Creator, myself, or the lobby. She would continue to have the love and support of the Creator, but would not fulfill those lessons that her soul found to be of the highest endeavor for this lifetime. The decisions to evolve, learn, and grow, or not to grow, are hers and hers alone. That is a very general sense for you of who I am, what my existence is, what my role is. In further chapters of this book, it may be that your understanding of me increases when you more fully embrace the sonic electromagnetic nature of the universe in which we all reside.